All right, guys, today we're going to go ahead and react to Coach Taylor, talk about the NFL draft, the whole process, what he thought about it, what he likes, what he doesn't like. I do have to put up a black bar whenever they show NCAA highlights, because if not, they will take down my video, so I can't have NCAA highlights up. NCAA is like 100 times worse than NFL when it comes to showing highlights. With that being said, though, let's go ahead and listen up to Coach Taylor, and let's see how he felt about the NFL draft. I honestly, speaking wise, love the NFL draft. I think I give the Bengals still an A for overall grade for the draft. I think they did absolutely amazing.
I felt like we got value with all the players. Really excited to get them in the mix, and at the same time, it hit some needs that we had as well. So feel really good about coming out of this draft, how we had hoped, and making our team better. And guys that can come and compete, got great intangibles, and are all going to have a chance to provide value to our team, and that's big.
I know before the draft you talked about how much you liked the tight end room. Was that indicative of the way this fell, or is it just kind of the way the board fell for you guys?
Yeah, both. I do like the room. You know, I'm genuine when I say that. I feel like we've, by signing Irv and getting Drew back, and there's a lot of guys behind there that are going to provide some competition for depth. And so feel like they've all been trending in the right direction. They've all been here outside of Irv and know what we expect. And so feel like we can get a lot out of that room with James, especially leading the charge there. And at the same time, there were certainly guys that we liked in the draft, and they weren't there when we picked sometimes, and we were comfortable with that. We were comfortable standing firm with what we had in the room if we had to.
How much of that is also a commitment to resources? I mean, you guys would have to take Tyler Boyd or somebody else off the field with your receivers that you would have, or start to take Irv Smith off the field. How much of that kind of plays into the decision not to take a tight end?
We're predominantly 11 personnel. That we have some 12. We just usually factor in the tight end room. How do we improve the tight end room? If we can or we can't. That usually drives the decisions, and mostly less about the other positions.
So do you think in college free agency and the final veteran free agency right before camp, you'll stand pat in the tight end room, or you'll still be looking at that?
No, there's still a chance. We'll likely add at every single position in free agency, so I wouldn't take any positions off the board there.
Right.
What do you feel like you have right now in the running back room?
I feel like you got a good mixture of guys. We got three known quantities there with Mixon, Travion, and Chris, and they all know the expectations there. And now you get a chance to add another one, Chase, to the mix. Tremendous college career, 2 years over 1,000 yards, almost led the NCAA in rushing this year. Just came up shy. So again, he's carried the load for those guys. We feel like he's got great vision and balance as a runner and patience, and so I like what he's going to bring to the room as well. And then we'll just see how it all shakes out from there.
What's next with Mixon? I know there's a lot of conversation about what might happen with him. There's talks that you all had at the combine about maybe or kind of reference. We'll kind of see how things go. What's next, and kind of evaluating his future here with the team.
Yeah, his future's here with the team. I mean, I like Joe Mixon.
You guys added a lot of speed, a lot of mid 4.5 times. I think with most of the guys you got. I mean, is this one of the fastest teams you ever coached, just in general? I mean, it's pretty fast class.
Yeah, and I don't think we set out to say let's go get the fastest players. I think that's just the players that were there that we had graded high happened to be really fast, and that's great. That shook out that way. You can never go wrong adding that kind of speed at all positions, even positions typically. Where that's not talked about as much. And so feel really good about where we're at.
You're not saying that, with Brad Robbins, he brings something that you guys haven't had here in a while. What did you like about that pick, bringing him in, have competition?
Yeah, Darren obviously has studied these guys in depth. Really liked Brad. Has been up there, seen him work out, watched all the tape, and the hang time's really good. He's played in cold weather. He's played in big games. So I like all that stuff that he brings to the table, and it'll be great competition with Drew, and we'll see how it shakes out.
Back at the running back room, you lose P-Ron, obviously. Do you see Mixon playing the same role this year? You also have some third down snaps open. How do you kind of, with some snaps open, see that change?
I think we'll just see how it shakes out. I'm not going to say anything set in stone. Again, I like Joe Mixon as our starting running back, and we get him the ball a lot of different ways. Just because Samaje played more on third down than he did. Didn't mean that his production really wavered. We're still going to throw him the football and hand him the football, and now you get a chance to see where these three other guys, now they're going to get more opportunities. Travion, we re-signed him for a reason. I feel like he's improved every single year that he's been here, all 4 years, and that's why we brought him back. for an opportunity for more growth now that Samaje's gone. And Chris Evans, going into another year for him, he's got to continue to improve. And then you add Chase, who's been a really productive college back that we really liked. And so we'll see how it all shakes out from a playing time, from a role standpoint. But I think we got a good mixture of guys in there.
Zach, you've mentioned character throughout your tenure here, especially the last couple of years. But how important is it for these young players not only to have character but have the ability to assimilate, process, and get up to speed quickly and contribute?
I think it gives them their best chance to survive here, because there's so much talent here in the building. And so if you stick out in a poor way, it's going to be tough to make the team, and contribute. And but these guys all fit in. These guys all check those boxes. They're all going to have a chance to compete. We'll welcome everybody into the locker room, regardless of who it is. But I think these guys are really going to fit in well with the different position groups that they're part of.
What does Charlie Jones bring to the?
Say that again.
What does Charlie bring to the team? And what did you like about
I think he's got value at all three spots at receiver. He can challenge for the punt return job as well. Extremely productive. I've always been a big fan of that system. Jeff Brom, that you see a lot of NFL concepts there. So you see guys do a lot of different things. It's not just guys line up outside the numbers and run three routes. You got to see Charlie do a lot. They try to get him the ball every which way they could. So 100-something catches and however many targets. Some of them are uncontested, some of them are contested. The guy competes, and I think that he'll provide value at all three spots in our receiver room. I think it's really good competition for guys that are lined up behind our three starters. And so, again, I like the intangibles that he brings to the table as well.
Zach, one of the other major questions coming in the draft from outside was if you guys were going to draft a tackle, and what would that mean for Jonah and, the future there. I know you have other options at right tackle that you're happy with, and obviously you guys not taking one means something. So as it stands, is the plan for Jonah to be the starting right tackle in the upcoming season?
Yeah, Jackson has an opportunity there as well. So Jonah's a valued member of this franchise, and we're extremely happy to have him. He is transitioning over to right tackle. I'm excited about that. And Jackson, again, has continued to grow in his time here, and he has an opportunity to compete as well. And with Jonah being out because of the surgery, it's Jackson's going to be the guy that's going to get the first opportunity there. He's healthy and able, and so excited to see what the competition looks like over there.
The fact that the guy who seemed to come out of this thing, the phase that came out of it really well with special teams, not just the punter, but kind of all the way around with the speed. The fact that, you walk out of there like that, does that kind of show that your roster is a little bit more well-rounded than before the weekend, a little bit deeper, a little more well-rounded?
I just think we've done a good job of adding the guys, whether it be in free agency or developing the roster the way it's been, to where you feel like you've got all your bases covered at all the positions, and so now you can add guys that fit you, sometimes in teams roles initially before they contribute in other areas, and that's a good thing. That's a great way to develop guys, is get them in the mix there on special teams, and as they start to grow more comfortable on offense or defense before their role expands there. A lot of great players that have come through here started more in those roles and then expanded to starting roles on offense or defense, and so I think that's been a luxury for us to have, how the roster is built, that we're able to add guys that give us value in a lot of different areas. And special teams, I feel like was hit in a very positive way in this draft, and that's good for the makeup of our team.
What are you hoping happens with backup quarterback right now? Brandon's currently unsigned, working y'all linked to a few. What do you want to see out of that backup quarterback spot moving forward?
Yeah, I think it speaks to Jake Browning, number one, that we feel like he's continued to grow. And so, he's the second guy in the room right now. I do think there's veterans out there, Brandon Allen being one of them, that are guys that we'll continue to talk to.
Can you tell us a little bit about DJ Ivy? There's not a whole lot out on him.
Yeah, DJ's a guy we got to know in the pre-draft process. He came through here in a top 30 visit. So, again, he's got good measurables, and was a starter this year in Miami down there. So we feel like in the 7th round that provided good value for us. We got to know him as he came through the building. Really liked what he was about, and so we felt like there in the 7th round that was a good fit for us.
You said that when you looked at depth at receiver, you look for guys with an elite trait or a few elite traits. Why is that your approach, and what do you Yeshovis and Jones bring?
I'm sorry, can you say that one? I was
You said
distracted.
when you had depth at wide receiver, you look for guys with an elite trait, maybe can do one thing extremely well and then continue to develop. What do you feel like Yeshovis and Jones that they contribute in the short term in a way, and then obviously grow past that?
I'll start with Charlie. I think Charlie has shown the flexibility to play a lot of different positions. They try to get him the ball. And so oftentimes when you're trying to get your best player the ball, you move him around. And I wouldn't say he majored in the slot necessarily. He majored more outside, but he'd be in a reduced split on the backside of a single man concept over there. And there were times he moved in the slot. He runs the whole route tree. You get the chance to see everything from him. So it's easy to visualize how he fits. I was really impressed with how he comes off the ball and how he sets his routes and, can put the DB in a bind with some of the subtle technique stuff. I think that shows advanced knowledge by him of just understanding. He's got great contested catch ability. And he's shown the ability to run away from some people too. He can break a tackle and run. And like I said, he was targeted a lot. With Andre, you can see pretty rare traits. He's got great body type, great size, great speed. I think his acceleration really stands out to me. Maybe that's the heptathlete. I don't know much about the heptathlon, but I'm learning. And I saw him throwing the disc or something, so that's part of it now that I know. But I think you can really see the acceleration and the traits there, and so that's good to come in there and compete at the receiver position and see what he can do for us at this level.
It seems like over the years, the speed of college football has increased so much. I mean, strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists, the guys are just bigger, faster, stronger. The whole league, the whole NFL.
You didn't see those Nebraska teams back in the early 2000s. We were big too.
The whole NFL is faster, though. I mean, it's like you definitely increased your team speed, but overall, I mean, how much faster is the league overall in the last 10 or 15 years?
That's a very tough question. I don't know how I can measure that. I agree. It just seems like the level of athlete. I'm probably going to offend somebody by saying that from 20 years ago, but it does. It feels like you're dealing with a bunch of freaks, and it's tough. You're always trying to keep up. You're always trying to make sure your team's athletic and big and athletic, and you're trying to find the combination of the two, which usually equals like a top 5 pick when you're looking for big and fast. But I think, again, we built this team. This division's a physical division, so you need size. You need speed as well when you're playing in this division and outside of it. So you just do your best to stack it all up and make sure you got the best team. And I just feel like I said a bunch of words there. I don't really feel like I answered a question, but.
Are you saying Murray's purified could play with the best of them?
I wouldn't say speed was his number one asset. I would say size. He would box people out. Big jump ball guy, could run dagger routes and run away from people. Caught some game winners against Missouri and A&M that were big down there. Boxed out some guys. But he had a shot in the league. I think he became almost a Hall of Famer Arena League player, if I'm not mistaken, down there in Arizona. So he made a nice career for himself. 6'4", 215 from San Francisco Community College. I had to leave my history of jazz class to call him to recruit him. Jay Norvell made me leave class to call this junior college receiver, and we got him. So I was very proud of that.
Well, speaking of recruiting, you're kind of going in recruit mode right now at the end of the draft. What's it like kind of selling or pitching this franchise to undrafted free agents compared to what it was like in 2019 when you got here?
I think there's a strong history. That's the number one selling point of undrafted free agents making this team, contributing to this team, being on the practice squad, getting opportunities at a later date because they were on the practice squad. There's a strong history here as anywhere else in pro football of guys getting an opportunity. We're not going to discriminate against anybody because they were a third-round pick or an undrafted free agent. If you come in here and you maximize your reps, you're going to get an opportunity to play. And so I think that hopefully guys understand that. You're starting this recruiting process. It's really an hour recruiting process, and you're trying to get that across to guys as quickly as possible. Sometimes it takes, sometimes it doesn't. But again, I think that if you just look at the history of undrafted free agents here, as far back as the last 15 years, I think it's been really strong.
Usually during pre-draft press conference, someone will ask you about your most memorable calls, letting the guys know.
I know where this is going.
Yeah. Exactly. Have you ever had one like the one with Brad in that type of reaction?
There's two of them. Actually, you might not even know the other one. But Brad was one for sure. That was a great reaction, very genuine reaction by him, which is good. That gives me a little juice as well because you can't – I've said this before, you can't tell what's on the other side of the call, and so it was good to hear that kind of energy from him. DJ, as it goes in the end of the 7th round, you're getting a lot of calls maybe about free agency as well. And so I couldn't get him to answer the phone. And so I'm texting him on my personal phone, trying to get him to answer the main phone. And eventually, with about 10 seconds on the clock, we got him. Potsy had already submitted the picks. We were good. But, that one was a little stressful there for a moment. But we got him to answer the call, and he jumped in the boat.
Zach, how has coaching and evaluating players changed for you since 2020, considering guys are taking 6 years now, sometimes they're playing in 2-3 college programs. How does that change your evaluations?
That's probably a better scouting question for those guys. There's some 21-year-olds we had in this draft, and there's some 25-year-olds in this draft. I try not to hold it against a guy if he's 25 years old. There's still a lot of valuable years there. We're trying to take the best player. Oftentimes you can sell yourself, okay, he's 21 years old, his best years are ahead, he's got so much room for growth. Okay, he's 25, he's mature, he's going to come in here. So you can make the argument for however you want to make the argument when a player comes in the building. But I think, we got some guys that maybe at positions, the older maturity guys is a good thing. Some other guys, maybe the youth is great to be able to develop them for a number of extra years. So I don't have a solid answer on how COVID has affected these COVID years. Guys are in there for 5 or 6 years, or maybe that's a little bit longer. I don't have the evidence to suggest which way that has taken things in this league or not.
Have you noticed a change in players coming in with 2 or 3 different programs, having to learn playbooks? Have you talked to players? Has there been a difference there in kind of what COVID was before and now after?
I don't. It's a good question. I don't feel that. I do think our coaches do a good job teaching our systems, and so I can't think of many guys where we've said, man, this guy just can't learn it to help us. I think maybe if guys maybe had that MO that they struggle to learn, I think our position coaches have done a really good job of getting them to do what we need them to do. And so there's always examples where maybe guys can't do it and you cut them, but I can't think of any that come to mind. Just because I think we bring in the right people, but also I think our position coaches do a really good job of making sure they get to the player and get them to a place where they can play their best on the field and put their best foot forward.
Perfectly said by Zach Taylor. Interesting update, though, on the whole Joe Mixon situation. How Joe Mixon, as he says, he is our future. We want Joe Mixon on this team. And in all honesty, drafting a player like Chris, I keep calling him Chris Evans. He was the other running back, Chris Jones. Drafting someone like that, who is a kind of gadget back, who's a receiving back, who can block, that is a complementary piece, exactly what Zach Taylor said before the draft. They want to get a complementary piece for Joe Mixon, so Joe Mixon's the guy moving forward, and they're not looking for a replacement. And I think that really does spell to the fact that they're going to keep Joe Mixon for the long haul. For Jonah, we talked about yesterday, but yes, they were trying to trade Jonah, and they had a trade on the table with the Jacksonville Jaguars before they took Antoine Harrison, and they were going to move on from Jonah Williams, but that fell through, so now he's on the roster with, of course, Jackson, Carman, and Collins, and that moving forward. But, I mean, I love this draft class. Absolutely freaking love it. Not every single pick would I rate an S tier pick, but for the most part, every pick they have a part to play in this Super Bowl run. And I think that's the most important thing ever is, you look at, obviously, Myles Murphy. What was his part to play? Well, he's a rotational guy. He can pretty much play any position you want on the defensive line, so that's linebacker. He can do everything you need him to do. He keeps the players fresh. He gets out to the quarterback. He's going to increase that number 28th overall at getting a quarterbacks last year. He gives you that ability right away. Okay, well, number 2, which was DJ Turner, what does he do? Well, he gives you that 4th cornerback role. Now you don't have to bring back Eli Apple or Trey Flowers. Now you have a rotational guy. You have more depth. For example, if Cheeto does come when he comes back week 1, if he's not 100%, then you have a rotational guy who maybe you don't bring back Cheeto week 1 because DJ Turner is looking so good in the preseason, right? Pick 3, Jordan Battle. Now you have a rotational guy with Nick Scott, a guy that can, keep the safeties honest. He's also very balanced. You can put him in the box as run support, and that's why I really do like Jordan Battle too. All right, number 3. Number 3 was that Charlie? No, number 4 was Charlie. Number 3 number 3 was Jordan Battle. Number 4 was Charlie Jones. You have a receiver now who eventually could be, Tyler Boyd's replacement. He could be that guy that replaces Tyler Boyd. He's a slot guy. He's big. He can outbox people. He's 24 years old, but at the same time, though, he's going to be able to use that as to his advantage because he's more experienced to outbox people down the field. He's not a small guy. He's a big guy. So he's going to be able to do that. Okay, then Chase Brown. Obviously, gadget-type player could work out in the end from just being able to, create a couple big plays and, move the ball down the field, get in the scoring range, and score touchdowns. Andre, another receiver, again, another rotational guy, special teamer possibly, that could work out. You have the punter, Brad Robbins, absolutely awesome. And then finally, DJ, another safety, rotational special teams guy. Every piece of the puzzle is important to make the puzzle happen. And they created so many puzzle pieces today, and so many puzzle pieces got put together. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.